This is TWiT.
We're going to kick it off with the Vision Pro segment.
What do you see?
I was not ready for that.
Testing John Ashley.
I was not ready for that.
But you did it. There was only a slight hesitation. And actually, the good news is this is the last Vision Pro segment
No,
ever.
it's not.
It's all over for the Vision Pro. It's done. It's finished.
It's not.
Our
Mark,
social experiment
try.
is at an end.
Mark Gurman says they're not going to do the less expensive Vision Pro in
Not what he said.
2027. He didn't say that?
No.
Oh, you're
What
no
did he
fun,
say?
Jason.
Okay, so and this is, you know, as somebody here with Alex who talks about all the great things about the Vision Pro, I think this is actually the right move, and I'm glad that they're doing it. But what they did is they're going to take the people who are building that next generation, lighter, cheaper, but probably still heavy and expensive Vision Pro hardware, and they're putting them on the AR glasses catch up to Meta project so that they can ship things like the Meta Ray-Bans and the Meta Ray-Bans with AR faster than they were going to do it because they are many years behind on that side. They're still going to ship an M5 Vision Pro. Vision OS proceeds, but I think what they realized is just something they should have realized 5 years ago, which is just approaching this from the top down is the wrong way to do it. And you also need to approach it from the bottom up, like what Meta has done. And so they're going to go, they're going further in on bottom up on building, you know, AirPods glasses and then AR glasses.
Though, aren't going to do spatial computing. They're not Vision Pros.
Not in the short term, but I think that they probably converge or get close to converging eventually. And I think Apple's mistake was saying, well, we'll work on this big heavy thing and make it lighter. And that's not necessarily the wrong approach, but the other way to go is to do what Meta's doing. I mean, Meta's building headsets too, but they're also building these lightweight things that are more like smart AirPods, basically. It's all tech that Apple already has, and they kind of poo-pooed it. And then they seem to do, Gurman reported a while ago, and we talked about like an investigatory phase. And now they seem to have decided that they've investigated it, and it is a good idea. And they pulled the people who were working on the sort of 2028, again, Vision Pro follow-on that would have been lighter but probably still heavy and cheaper but probably still expensive, and instead saying, look, we need to ship these glasses products way sooner because we are so far behind Meta. And I think that's the right call.
He says they are still going to do the M5 chip upgrade, the slipstream upgrade this year and maybe next. Yes.
And for the Vision Pro, which is just it is an experimentation and development, and, you know, way too early for anybody to buy it for realsies product anyway. So they'll push it up to M5 and then they're going to move on for a little while.
And he says the company's working on two types of smart glasses. The first one, dubbed N50, will pair with an iPhone and lack its own display, maybe as soon as next year. And then they'll do one that is just like the Meta Ray-Ban display with a display in it for 2028, 3 years from now. Or possibly sooner because they're putting more people on it. I think that time frame is one of the reasons why they realized they needed more people working on this thing. Come on, admit it. They're killing the Vision Pro. You got to admit it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
No, I think that the big thing is that the current Vision Pro is a little underpowered. And for what some of us have been producing, there's still the next generation of just adding the processing power is going to add a lot more to it. It provides very valuable resources when you're thinking about wanting. I think the reason that Apple went down this path in the first place is that if you're going to build if you're going to build the glasses eventually, having the data that you're getting from the Vision Pro users is really valuable, and having the ecosystem getting built up around that is really valuable. And I don't think that I don't think that Apple really, is going to release a product that they view as an existential solution, and then go after a year, I don't know if we're going to do this anymore. That's a Google thing to do. It's not an Apple thing to do. And I think that
Apple car.
No, but
they never released it.
Never shipped it.
They never released it.
Apple has produced many things.
Although
that
you
never
could say
made
Apple
it to retail.
Hi-Fi and iPod socks, and there are a few things.
Yeah, but I think that this is a platform. This is a platform
Xserve,
that they did. But Xserve was around for a while. It's not like it was there for a year and then they said, it doesn't work. It's not that Apple's ever put something to sleep. It's just that it is this is a platform. You know, they've built an OS for it. It's going to be here. It's going to be here for quite some time. Because the hard part is that the question is, can Meta actually, you know, execute over time, you know, that in a way that can compete with what Apple's doing. And so I think that that'll be the thing same thing with their headsets. And I think that, I think what they gave up on is, hey, it's probably really hard to make this lighter and cheaper. Like that's the part that I think they've given up on, is that we might as well just do work on the glasses, because we have the tank, and the tank will probably continue to get chip updates. I would be surprised if the form factor of the Apple Vision Pro and the basic design of the Apple Vision Pro changed dramatically in the next 3 years.
Is it fair to, as Flying Comic in our Club Twit says, call it the Apple's Lisa?
I don't think so. Like
I think the Lisa technically was Apple's Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, the Lisa glasses.
Yeah, but the problem is that there still has not been any sort of proof that this is something that that the market wants in enough quantities for Apple to really, really justify it.
Even Meta's glasses, you could say that of. They've only sold a couple of million.
Yeah, I mean, this is Apple waiting patiently, like in front of where they think the puck is going to be, waiting and waiting and waiting for that puck to come, and it might never come.
It's the problem
it could be the same thing with glasses too. Again, it's not that it's an unviable product, but Apple doesn't sell boutique products. They don't sell in it. They don't try to sell things in hundreds of thousands or even low millions. They want to sell things as the next phone. And I'm not saying I doubt that will ever happen. I'm saying that we don't have anything to go on other than faith that this market is ever going to coalesce.
Yeah, but I think the difference here is, I mean, you could interpret what you're saying as being, unless Apple releases a hit, it should never release a product.
Nope,
and I will admit,
didn't even imply that.
I think you did, but I'll just say this is a different kind of product, and it is entirely speculative. And I do think the way it was marketed was a gigantic mistake. I think there are people inside Apple who only know one thing, which is to sell products to the mass market. And this was always from day one a weird, is this a thing for the future kind of product that most people shouldn't buy. That has not changed, and it's not going to change. But I think Apple is thinking having an operating system that is ready for AR and VR and that builds on their app platform, and you know, having that is valuable. Having people build that is valuable because they're going to be able to roll that into future products, both AR and VR. And that's what this product is. And you know, again, I think it's fine. I think shipping it was probably a good idea. The problem was people judging it by like regular Apple products, because I mean, it was so clear from day one that it was not going to be that. Well, it's all about the future speculation.
Can I say it was also clear from day one that they brought almost nothing to the to me, it was clear from day one that they brought almost nothing to the table. There was, except for the developer community, which is an eternal Apple asset. But the shocking thing to me when I first saw the Vision Pro, and then when I actually used it myself, is that this is just another one of those. There are VR headsets out there. They made another one of those. They didn't do what they did with the iPhone. They didn't do what they did with so many other platforms, where they figured out, here are some pain points, or here's somewhere where our specific point of view as a company and as designers can actually transform this product and at least make it into a unique Apple experience. This is not that. It runs iPad apps.
I don't know. I mean,
I totally disagree.
It is dramatically better than the Meta Quest. It's dramatically better.
It's the same thing, only with better specs. It's like
it's not true.
Not true.
The OS
everything about it is better.
The OS is so much better. Meta has now copied aspects of it, trying to get it more like Vision Pro, but like the Vision OS is a very different kind of experience. Now, we could argue that the ways in which it's better are all about spatial computing things that nobody wants. Well, I think that there's an argument to be had.
And I think that the issue is that if you go back to, like, let's say when Apple released Maps, because I think Maps is a better corollary than the Lisa, which is that they came out of it, they didn't have enough data. They didn't have the data that Google had. So they weren't as accurate as Google. They'd send you down dead ends. There's lots of things that were glitchy. And then they just spent a lot of money on it and kind of just leaned into that as it slowly moved forward. But the big thing is that what you need for doing anything like this, this is an entirely new way of computing. It's an entirely new way of interacting, and you need data. and you don't get data without a product. If you don't have hundreds of thousands of people banging on your product and looking at it, and this isn't about selling product right now. It is about gamma testing. And so it is all about figuring out, like, watching how people use it. There's so many things that have gotten better just in the last couple operating, OSs. And I think that you're going to keep on seeing them. They're progressing those so that when they have a product that they're going towards a mass market, all of those things are working, because none of those things would work by themselves. Like that, you can't just come out of it from the lab and have it all working. And so the infrastructure and the process and, a lot of the other things, I do think, to your point, Andy, that Apple has, the weakness that Apple has is this idea that build it and they will come, and we're just going to build something and people are going to show up. And to some degree, people have, but what was genius of that Epic did was the mega grants. The mega grants had everyone forget that Unity existed. Like when mega grants came out of, we're going to give away $100 million with very few strings, like almost like under $25,000, almost no strings. Over $25,000, maybe a couple. You got to tell us what you're going to do with it. like it's just, and suddenly everyone is brainstorming on how to use the Unreal platform. And so the thing is that I think that Apple is, never wants to pay people to develop for their platform, because it's a slippery slope and they don't want to do that. But I think that kind of grant at this moment with a new platform would make a huge difference. If Apple said, we're going to give away $1 billion a year to, which they roll off one of the bills on the outside of the roll. We're going to give away $1 billion a year for people to develop apps for it. Suddenly you have all these people creatively thinking about proof of concepts and process, and, because you can see hints of it, of what people are building for these things that is truly amazing, but when we look at the amount of work Apple's done, when you go back and realize that USDZ was for the headset, that was what, 10 years ago that they started talking about it. And so this is a very long play. If Apple, I would be blown away. They're obviously going to make adjustments, because that's what a good company does. But if they give up on this less than 10 years after the release, I will be very surprised.
Well, I don't think I'm being really clear with what I'm saying. I'm not going to re-prosecute what I'm saying. I'll leave it at this: is that sometimes it's that people just don't like tomato flavored soda. It's not that, the problem is that it's too expensive. No, it's not too expensive. What if we put it in 6-ounce cans instead of 16-ounce bottles? No, it's not that. What if we use much better? Well, this is higher quality tomatoes, and we've got the spice blend correct. Well, again, it's possible that people just have no real need, use, or interest in tomato flavored soda. I'm not. Again, I just don't think that we could. I don't think that Apple should or will go ahead with the understanding that all we got to do is bunker down, dig our trenches deeper and deeper, just keep improving this, and people will come around, or market factors will come around, and suddenly this will be another computing platform that is viable. That is not simply, how you can run iPad apps on an iPad? Imagine you had virtual iPads, and that you had to strap to your face for 3 or 4 hours before your neck tires out. I'm saying that it's possible this will never.
This headset isn't the product. Thing. The AR glasses are the product. This headset is the R&D platform to figure out interaction, it is what they're doing, and what Meta's doing is so hard. It is so hard to do. And I don't think that this is considered the product. Like, this is getting a bunch of people willing to test, human interaction, with that process. And I do think that, I don't know if it would sell that many more, but like, for instance, if I could build something that would be providing really cool concerts once a week, and a lot of people would subscribe. And I could probably make it, with enough CapEx, I could probably make it something that generated a profit pretty quickly, with the people, with just the platform that's here right now, but you have to have someone willing to put the work and time into that process. And I think that, there's, and there are people. I'm in these conversations every day. There are people working on it, and the Blackmagic camera just came out. There's a handful of them that are floating around. I get access to one every once in a while. And I think that as that becomes something that more and more people have, you're going to see more and more content, and the content is pretty compelling, and I will say that it has always been this mixture of not having enough content, and not having hardware that can deliver that content. So we've been shooting more content than the Meta Quest and even the Apple Vision Pro can play regularly for a long time. So we are constantly shooting more, and it's been really difficult to work on that content. By pulling all these things together, we're going to get to a point where that content is a lot easier, a lot cheaper to produce. And also we have with the headset, we have something that can actually play it. And I think when they upgrade it with the M5, if that actually, whenever that happens, it's going to close a huge gap from performance-wise that does make a difference. There's a hill that sits right on the other side of where the current Apple Vision Pro sits, that it makes a huge difference from my experience of working with headsets in the frame rate. When we go from 90 to 120 frames a second, it's a completely different world. And so, from a lower brain perspective. And so I think that, again, they're doing something that's hard. And the thing is that they are playing a game that I think people are going to want wearables. Do they want the Apple Vision Pro? Probably not. Do they want something that they wear that I think Google saw it first, gave up quickly. I think Meta is pretty committed to what they're doing. I think Apple is putting it in. This is a big boys game. This is super expensive, and it's a huge arms race, and it's only going to be, 2 or 3 companies that pull it off. And I think that the company that I don't think it has to be one or the other either, but I think that Meta has privacy concerns around their headset that is going to be an albatross as they try to grow, wanting to wear glasses that are constantly telling Meta what you're doing and where you are and everything else. There's a lot of people that are not going to be very excited about that. So that it's a constant drag on what they're doing, and nobody else is playing at the level that Meta and Apple are playing. So Apple has this huge market of people that say, I don't want to share my information with Meta, and if they put out a headset that is less than $2,000. I mean, people are paying $2,000 for their phone. they'll pay $2,000, and they're paying $1,000 for their watches. They'll pay $2,000 for.
Well,
a
they're
headset.
not doing
They're
that
not
$2,000 one.
They're spending $200
$200
for their phones worldwide. They're not spending $2,000.
Wait a minute.
I don't care about worldwide. All I care about is Apple users. Like, who cares?
Again, as a niche product, they can make it work.
You don't think this is a signal from Apple saying we give up?
No.
I'm stunned.
Well, we'll get to have this conversation in a year and see
Patently
how it goes.
obvious that they're giving up, and they looked over. It's like that meme with the guy looking over his shoulder. They looked over at the Meta glasses and said, "Oh yeah, we should probably be doing that instead."
Yeah. Leo, if I had $10 for every time you declared the Vision Pro dead, I wouldn't be here.
Well, it's finally dead. I finally won.
Real
It's
dog
dead.
bites
It's
man
not dead
stuff.
yet.
Real
It's
dog
just-
bites man
It's just
stuff happening
limping.
there.
It's just limping on one leg.
Glasses that like
It
Meta
was never a
is
good
what Apple
product. It
always
was
going
never a good
towards.
product. It
Yeah,
still
but-
isn't a good product. Nobody should buy it, and especially now. Do you think this will really help sales? Like, oh, well, obviously Apple's all in on the Vision. No, it's not.
They're in on the
They
platform.
took the
It's not the product.
team off the Vision Pro and put it on glasses.
They put
There's
some
nobody.
engineers working
You
on
go to the
lighter
Vision
version.
Pro
I know.
offices.
know
There's
that for
nobody
years.
there.
No, there's still. I mean, Vision OS is still going forward, and they're shipping the M5. I think.
Okay,
look,
there's a couple of people there.
Look. I think if you don't believe that this is a category, that's fine. The Vision Pro is what it is. It's weird, and it's not what Apple usually does. I think that what's happened is that it's all been exacerbated by the fact that Apple blew it in terms of we don't need to make things like the Meta Ray-Bans because we have AirPods and that should be good enough. And now they're realizing, oh, maybe that was a mistake, which it totally was, and they have to catch up. I think one of the big questions is this a product category in 10 or 15 years at all? And I've heard different things, but like if you're Apple or Meta or even Google, they have so much money, and they are all afraid that in the 2030s, nobody's going to need a smartphone anymore, or even if they do have a smartphone, everybody's going to have a thing on their face that is showing them everything about the world, and that if they don't build that product, someone else will, and they will lose
the glasses.
that opportunity. So
not the Vision Pro, the
well,
glasses.
okay, but
So you're saying the glasses are the same category?
I'm saying that
This
I'm
is
saying,
all
I'm
the
saying it's
same.
all the same because even though what Meta is showing now is like a widget in your corner of your right eye, in the long run, you need a software platform for it. Who's going to have one? Apple's going to have
I
one.
agree with you.
You're
Meta's
going to need
not
to
the
learn how to
company.
miniaturize sensors. You're going to have to like these are all things that need to be done. The real difference here is that Apple is doing Vision Pro in public, and they could have kept it as a lab project. And I think that is a lot of what I hear from people about this is if it's not going to be a successful product to the market, and that people like us, even somebody like me who kind of believes in the product, says nobody should buy it, then maybe they shouldn't have released it at all. I think in a world where developers are more excited about building for Apple platforms, maybe they could have gotten away with it. But the challenge right now is that there's nobody there, and people feel really developers feel really put upon by Apple and taken advantage of by Apple. And on top of that, then let's say this cycle, developers are using every spare second to fix all of the liquid glass issues with their apps. The last thing they're going to do is throw more time. I mean, I know developers I've talked to about this, and it's like they think Vision Pro is cool, but like in the end, even if they think Vision Pro is cool, if they're only gonna have 50 users, and they've got, I mean, they will never prioritize it.
Isn't that the wisdom of the crowds? Aren't the developers saying the same thing I'm saying, which is we're not going to develop for it because it's a dead end?
And again, I think that this is where
because the product's too heavy and expensive today, and that's the question again.
Nobody's ever going to want to strap that onto their face. They
Of course
they
not.
will definitely
Again,
want to
that's
wear
not the product.
glasses.
What if
I don't
we
think
made
glasses are
the
the same
tomato
category.
soda into a powder that you can mix into a drink? That's probably again.
Well, anyway,
what I'm getting at is
I'm gonna
this is-
tell
this
John
is based
Ashley,
on
Well,
faith.
Don't
many
burn
billions of
the-
dollars are being spent by tech
Hold on,
companies who
hold
think tomato soda is going to be a thing, and maybe they're wrong, Andy.
Hold on. I'm going to tell John Ashley not to burn the Vision Pro jingle. You can keep it around. I
Wait,
guess we'll be.
I already burned.
Did you already erase it?
I was about to.
all I can say is that a year from
Regrets.
now, when things are cooking along,
Oh, yeah. You told me that when the Vision
Jason
Pro
and I-
came out.
Jason and I
You
maybe
guys are
less
cracked.
forgiving.
You're cracked.
Well, let's see what let's look at how
I've been
next year
saying
goes.
this all along.
Yeah, I know. Nothing
I
new.
think you guys are nuts.
They've talked about AR. The platform is the glasses. That is what they've been going towards the whole time.
I think that's
can't make it.
revisionist. I think you're being revisionist.
No, that's why they have. That's why they have all of those stupid cameras on that thing.
Problems.
Yeah,
That's
they
why-
have
that's
been
why they
talking-
have-
We have been
and I don't
talking
think
about
Apple
that
has
on
the
this show.
wherewithal
I'm
to
sure we
solve
can go
those
back and
problems.
look.
I agree with glasses. I'm not fighting glasses at all. I'm just saying the Vision Pro ain't it. And I think it's
Yeah, you can't-
revisionist to say, well, no, really what they were doing is making glasses.
They've
but
said
they're
that
just
in the
really
past.
expensive.
They've said
It's
that-
been there, Leo. It's been there since day one, and the
Yeah.
only explanation for why the Vision Pro has its entire AR mode with all those cameras, those incredibly expensive cameras everywhere, is it's an AR simulator. Because Tim Cook only will talk about AR. Tim Cook is all about the
He's
future
all
of
in on
AR.
glasses. I know.
But they
Yeah.
can't build an AR product right now. And I think, again, we come back to the Meta style glasses. I think this is where they went wrong, is they said, well, we can't build this thing that Johnny Ive is envisioning from the 2030s. So let's just, that whole category is stupid. We'll just build this thing in the meantime. And, there would be no shame for the company that makes AirPods to make something a lot like AirPods.
Right.
That's glasses. And
Right.
yet it took them how many years to figure out that they maybe should build it, and only now are they really ramping up a team to build it? I think,
And it
I
won't
think,
be out till
I
2028.
think speculating about the Vision Pro, we can disagree or agree, but like that's where they really blew it. Is they thought, well, no, we're just going to do this thing, and that other thing is dumb.
So
And
you're
that-
agreeing with me now.
I'm agreeing that they should have also been working on glasses, and they shouldn't have poo-pooed it for sure.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this highlight from MacBreak Weekly. If you want to see the whole show, we're every Tuesday. You can watch us live right here on YouTube, or just click the link below and download an episode, or subscribe if you really like it. What does it the kids say? Oh, yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.